Hey friends, how's it going? Hope you're well. What is definitely going to be one of the more talked about Middle Eastern releases, if not the most talked about Middle Eastern release of the year, just dropped on all of our heads. This one right here, the new Khamrah Dukhan from Lattafa. Let's pretend that didn't happen. I took my eye off the bottle, obviously, because I was just staring straight into the lens like a psychopath and misjudged where it was going. But thankfully, these bottles are made of the finest glass. That, and also they just bounced off my pressure board table on the carpet, so it's fine. I'm telling you guys, I could have been an MLB player if I would have just stuck with the baseball, man. I'd be an all-star, brother. So yeah, the new Lattafa Khamrah Dukhan has just dropped at discounters. This bad boy right here gonna run you about 45 bucks, of course, because it's brand new. Now this is the third in the Khamrah line. Of course, there's the original Khamrah, which you can see right here. That one online from discounters, about 25 bucks. And then the year after the original Khamrah, there was Khamrah Kawa, which you can also find for about 25 bucks. So call me crazy, but I feel like in the future, this new one, probably gonna be about 25 bucks. But if you wanna be an early adopter, you gotta pay the early adopter fee, which is why it's 45. Now I picked up my bottle from the perfume box, which I will have linked in the description. I'll have all three of these linked in the description. And there is a little trick, a little secret that's not actually a secret at all. If you do shop at the perfume box, you can use the code you see right here to save yourself a little bit of money. So if you were after this one, that one, any of them, or anything on the website, you can use that code to save yourself some money. So then it's not the full 45 or the full 25, depending on which one we're talking about. Let's get things kicked off by taking a look at the presentation. If you're familiar with the Khamrah line, then you already know how it looks, but there is a slightly different gradient. So let's go ahead and check that out. Here we have the box. On the front, you have the name of the house, the name of the fragrance, and the flanker name as well. It has this like semi-pleather look to it to an extent in terms of how the grain of the box looks. And then like a faux wood at the bottom there, at least just in terms of the look. Doesn't feel like wood. That doesn't matter, but now you know. On top of the box, it says Lattafa. On one side, you have a little QR code. Yeah, basically your sticker of authenticity. On the back, you have your ingredient information, your caution information, and then on the bottom, you have your badge code and your barcode. My bottle was produced March 2025. It's brand new pretty much. That bottle ain't maturated at all. Sometimes you just gotta let that bottle maturate a little bit, brother. Or is it maturate? Whatever. You gotta let it sit around for a while. Here we have the bottle. It's your typical Khamrah style. This one with a different gradient, kind of like a pinkish purple at the bottom, and it goes up more clear toward the top. You have a little sticker on the front there that has the name of the fragrance, name of the house, Lattafa up top, and then a little sticker on the bottom as well. The cap does click snugly into place. And this time the atomizer is a different color. What is that? Kind of like a little raspberry maroon. Let's go ahead and give this one a couple sprays so we can check out the atomizer. Here we go. Not too bad. And I suppose since we have all of the Khamrahs out, we'll go ahead and spray those out as well. Get a couple more tester strips, Khamrah Kuwait, and the OG as well. There we go. Ooh. Now when it comes to fall and wintertime fragrances that tick all of these boxes, versatility, compliment factor, quality, ease of use, the original Khamrah and Khamrah Kawa are legitimately two of the best fragrances that you can buy, which is why they are so extremely popular. Because when it's a little bit cool outside, or also in spring during the evening, or some people like to wear these during summer in the evening as well, these two right here absolutely crush. Warm, sexy, sweet, boozy. Like I said, extremely easy to wear. The quality for a $25 fragrance is absurd. And so this one right here, the new one, has a lot to live up to. Now, for some odd reason you're unfamiliar with all of these, I'll do a very quick rundown on these two here. So the original Khamrah has notes like cinnamon, nutmeg, dates, praline, vanilla, tonka, amberwood, myrrh, benzoin, and also a touch of citrus off the top. It's similar to Gisa Sava and also is used as an alternative to Angel Share from By Killian. So like I said, very warm, sweet, sexy, cozy, inviting, magnetic, all of those things. Khamrah Kawa is similar to the original Khamrah in a whole lot of ways. The main difference with this one is it has the note of coffee decently prominently in the fragrance, which sets it apart from the original Khamrah, does make it lean a little bit more masculine to me than the original, also gives it a little better push, so the performance is slightly improved for me in Kawa versus the original, and also I would say a little bit darker because of that coffee and how it's used. So that's the rundown on these. How does the new one smell? Well, in terms of notes, this one is presented essentially as a smokier version of Khamrah, which is actually what the subheading, the flanker name means. Translated from Arabic, it means smoke. And there's also the introduction of tobacco in here. So the main question for me was, how are they gonna use that tobacco? Because that note can come across a bunch of different ways, and how prominent will it be, and how different will it be? So when you first spray on the new Khamrah, it actually has this, this spicy, sweet, fruity blast. It has kind of a cherry vibe to it. It doesn't have officially cherry as a note. Actually, there's citrus in here, mandarin orange, as the fruit in the top. But it actually has this kind of cherry sweetness to it with that mandarin orange working in underneath. So warm, spicy, sweet, fruity, really, really appealing. It does have kind of a throwback to the original Khamrah, but it definitely approaches things in a different way. And actually, pretty early on, that spiciness, the way that it hits for me, is almost reminiscent of like a holiday spiciness. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, it kind of conveys that feeling of like, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, November, December, kind of like when people are gathering for the holidays, and then right around the new year, you know, you have that particular like combo of spices that sometimes when you smell it, you're like, oh, okay, that smells like something I would wear late November. It's kind of got that going on. And while it does have a nice amount of sweetness, the sweetness does hit differently than in the original Khamrah. So the original Khamrah, you've got a lot of different sweet notes in there. As I said before, it's got praline, vanilla, tonka. The way the cinnamon comes across is sweet in Khamrah. You have dates in there, you've got resin. So you just have like a whole bunch of notes that are, you know, kind of doing the same thing in the sense that they're all warm, sweet, almost like syrupy at times. And it has spices in there, of course, the cinnamon being the most prominent note, but it leans decidedly more toward the sweet side of things. Whereas this one still has that sweetness, but it is moved much further towards the warm, spicy side of things. And also it has this, this incense that you can pick up pretty early on, and that lingers for a while. And the way the incense comes across is a little bit peppery, almost. Like it's that type of incense that has like a spicy aspect to it almost. So when you pick that smokiness up, it has more of that like tickle to your nose when you smell it. Now there's that tobacco in the new Khamrah that comes out as it heads through the mid and into the dry down. It's maybe not as much of a like sweet pipe tobacco as I was expecting, because I was expecting more of that sweetness to come through. Now, like I've said a couple of times, it still has sweetness, but it is decidedly less sweet to me when you compare it side by side with the OG. And then it also is maybe not quite as bold in some aspects compared to Khamrah Kawa, the way that that coffee is very forward in the scent profile. That being said, into the dry down, this one does kind of take on a bit of a life of its own. The tobacco comes out a little bit more with the incense, and while it's not an overly sweet tobacco, it is still really appealing, and it actually starts to lean maybe ever so slightly more towards like the niche side of how tobacco notes can be used, instead of leaning into that like honeyed tobacco, which I love, but it doesn't lean that far into that side. It does give you more of that, like I said, incensey spiciness, a little touch of that Middle Eastern flair kind of coming through the way that the note is utilized. It comes across deep, rich, very nice, very well done. The blend is good, the quality is good, just like you would expect from a Khamrah release. You do get a little warmth in the dry down from amber, a little bit of tonka in there, not as much compared to over here. Those notes, the tonka, the amber, give you a little touch of sweetness in the dry down as well in the base of the fragrance. Again, to emphasize, not as much as you're gonna find over here, but it's not devoid of sweetness. Yes, there's more in the opening, but as it dries down, you get a little subtle touch, a subtle push from those sweeter notes here. And that does help with the wearability and the compliment factor, of course, because people typically really love their sweets. Let's touch really quickly on performance, when you would use the fragrance, and then we'll get into some comparisons really quickly between these three. So in terms of projection, longevity, the new version for me outperforms the original Khamrah, but I would say that Khamrah Kawa probably has the most amount of push for me, the best longevity as well. So if I were gonna rank these in terms of performance, this one would be number 1, number 2, number 3. And in terms of seasonality, it is still a Khamrah at the end of the day. So what I mean by that is it's more of a fall, wintertime fragrance. During the cooler months, daytime, evening, doesn't really matter. I do think during the spring, especially in the evening, you could pull this off. But once it starts to heat up a lot, like it kind of is right now, at least where I live, probably going for something else. Like I said though, realistically, same time you would wear these, that's when you would reach for this one. So if you yourself are comfortable wearing Khamrah Kawa in the middle of summer or something like that, you can pull this off as well at the same time. Would I do it? Nah, probably not, but if you do it, knock yourself out. All right, so some comparisons really quickly here. Now I have smelled Khamrah and Khamrah style fragrances many times. It is an enormously popular fragrance, so much so that a lot of people will view Khamrah just as its own thing at this point. Don't even necessarily compare it to Angel Share or Sauvage. They'll be like, nah, Khamrah is Khamrah. Like, it's become that type of scent. Like I said, I've smelled this a bunch and a lot of fragrances done kind of in the style of this one, frankly. I mean, there are clone houses that have cloned Khamrah, right? Like, that's where it's at, basically. I do like Khamrah Kawa more than the original Khamrah for myself at this point. Like I said, a little bit bolder, a little more masculine, deeper, a little better performance, and just a little more interesting. Because there are a lot of fragrances out there that have kind of duped Khamrah, there aren't really any out there that have duped Khamrah Kawa, at least not in any huge sort of way. Now, don't take that the wrong way. I'm not saying that Khamrah is bad. It's not. Still smells absolutely fantastic. Like, smelling it right here, really well done. But where does this one fall, this new one? First time I wore it, I was not underwhelmed, but I would say the first time I wore it, I had this third, that I would have put it 1, 2, 3. Now, I've had it for a couple days, so not really long at all. And if you are a person that believes that you need to let these fragrances sit for a couple weeks or a couple months before they reach their full potential, it definitely has not had that much time. So I will revisit this one, maybe do a full review down the road after I've been able to wear it some more. Maybe like, I don't know, heading into fall. But yeah, I've only had it a couple days. So obviously these two are aged to perfection in comparison to the new one. But the second and third time through wearing this fragrance, I liked it a lot more. Because initially I was like, I don't know if it does enough different, but sticking around with it, it's actually pretty good. And it would not surprise me one iota if the initial reaction to this one is, yeah, it's pretty good. And then over time, as people wear it more, it grows on them, and then it becomes one where they're like, ooh, that's actually really good. Yeah, it could be one of those deals. And I'll tell you why I really have grown to like it over these past couple of days. I know, a whole whopping 48 hours, wow. But the opening, really nice. I dig it. Like I said, cherry not in the note breakdown, but it gives you that kind of vibe. And that's where you could convince yourself that tobacco is kind of like a sweet cherry tobacco. Little touch of citrus in there as well. Great warm spices, again, almost with the holiday kind of touch. Incense working underneath. Some deeper sweetness that is slightly syrupy to an extent in the opening. You know, that bit of labdanum probably working underneath. when you first spray it on. But that opening can grab your attention real quick. And it is the type of opening that grows on you. The first blast, maybe you go, I'm not sure. But then the second, third time around, you start to go, I might just go ahead and just, yeah, do that again. I'm normal. This is normal. Normal people do this. I'm not weird. I'm gonna do it again. Yeah, it becomes that kind of thing. Almost has like a tinge of green along the edge there when you first spray it on as well. So you get different things that pop out here. It does have some nice depth, especially for a fragrance that's probably gonna be like 25 bucks down the road. And then as it dries down, the incense that works through that, a little bit of a peppery zing to it. The tobacco taking on a slightly more mature take instead of going full on, full bore, syrupy, sticky sweet. I mean, you get a little bit of that in the opening, but the dry down, a different beast. I like it. It's different enough to stand on its own, but it still has, you know, those little bits and pieces tying it in with the original, and it's really well done. I was fully expecting to be let down, but the more that I have worn it, much like food doused in MSG, you gotta just keep coming back. Does it beat Kawa though? As of right now, I think not. I think I'm still going Kawa. If I was gonna go with just one of these, probably rocking that one. But it is a great addition to the line. If you're a fan of Khamrah, you will probably enjoy this one. But I will say that kind of like Kawa, I don't think it's going to appeal to as many people as the original Khamrah. So while I might say Khamrah Kawa, oh, you know, it's a little more interesting, bold, deep, whatever, the original Khamrah is the one that's going to be the easiest one to wear for most people because it has a huge compliment factor. It doesn't have anything that kind of could potentially be a deal breaker, right? It's very safe. Kawa with that coffee may not be for everyone. With this one, the new one, really it's more the incense. The incense that's in here may not be for everybody. But for me, it just keeps getting better. And it might end up being down the road that this is like 1A, 1B. Like these two are both just, especially when it's like 25 bucks. But 45, honestly, for right now, sick deal. Quality on that is way higher than 45 bucks. I mean, geez, some of these new releases coming out, ridiculous prices. And I was just thinking I should have bought 2 of these so I could give one away. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a giveaway. And what I'll do is I'll contact the perfume box and I will see if I can just buy one and ship it like directly from them to whoever wins. That's gonna be the easiest way. If they can't do that for some reason, I'll just buy it and then when I get it, ship it on to the winner. So just putting that out there, it's a little bit different than I would usually do, but I think I can make that work one way or the other. So yeah, I'll do a giveaway for the new Khamrah, and it can be open to anywhere. So as usual, all you have to do, leave a comment below. Why am I blanking on this? Leave a comment below, like the video, and for the comment, tell me what kind of Khamrah flanker you think they should do. Because at this point, it looks like they're kind of taking like Khamrah and putting a new twist on it each time, right? Like this is tobacco incense, this is coffee. So what should the next one be? Let me know what you think. What would I do? I don't know. My brain don't work. But let me know what you would do. So that's the giveaway. Good luck, guys. Like I said, when the winner is chosen, hit me up and I will see if I can get Perfume Box just to like ship it to you in my steed. But I'll communicate that with you through email if they can make that happen. If not, I'll get one and send it on to you. That just adds more steps, but what are you gonna do? There we go, guys. That's the new Khamrah. If you get this one in, give it some multiple wears. Yeah, the first wearing was not the best for me, but as I've been able to wear it from opening to dry down a few times, it's gotten a little better each time, which to be fair, that's kind of what happened with Kawa for me as well. So not a surprise, I guess. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Again, it is linked in the description, and there is that code as well in case you want to use it for literally anything on the entire Perfume Box website. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourself. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.